Hello, this is Olivier Nguito from IPRS Kigali, and welcome back to our session. Remember, we are still in hydraulics and the pneumatic systems. Last time we saw the different way of controlling electro-pneumatic system, whereby we saw the direct control, and we say that direct control, there is no relay, there is no just switch and solenoid. And in indirect control, now we introduce the relay or PLC or any other microcontrollers. From that, we are having indirect control. And remember, we can draw in two different ways, depending on the standards. We can use GIC standard, this one, or IEC standard. It depends. European, most of the time, they use IE standards, and American, most of the time, they use GIC standards. So the most important is that they work the same way. So let's connect them practically. So coming back to our trainer kit, we're going to focus on this side because this is the electro-pneumatic side, because that was pure pneumatic side. And we're going to connect direct control, and we're going to use this directional control valve. It is 5-port, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then it is electrically controlled by solenoid. So this is our solenoid, and it is controlled by this switch. So let's connect pipes. We take pipe from service unit or FRA units, and we bring it to here, and we move from DCV to the cylinder. And we take another small pipe from DCV again to cylinder. So before I connect my electrical power plant, so far no electrical system on the trainer kit, but I still can control my system using what we call override. This override is very helpful even when you are troubleshooting. When you need to know whether the DCV was damaged, you can even use the override. So now let me plug. So now after that I've connected my trainer kit to electrical power supply, now I can turn on the solenoid by just pressing a push button here. You see it goes on, and this changes the position. Then the cylinder goes for extension. If I release, the cylinder comes back just because it takes the initial position. There is a built-in spring. So you press here, it goes for extension. You release, it comes for retraction. We can change the DCV to see another way. This is actually two-position, single solenoid with an offset spring. And we're going to use another DCV, but this time having two solenoids, and to see the difference. So we connect them immediately here. Then we change this pipe from here to here. And we turn it back. But before I press any switch, you can see I can be able to control again using override system, like there is no electricity. But let me use now electrical push button. I press here, it goes for retraction. I press here, it comes for extension. See? Again, this is two position and two solenoid. It has got no spring, whereas this one has got a spring just because it has got a single solenoid. So when we have a single solenoid, there is also a spring there. When we have two solenoid, there is two possibilities. Either it has three positions, which means it is a spring centered, or it has two positions, which means it is monostable. And here, when using this DCV, for the cylinder to maintain the position, you just need a single puzzle only. Then the solenoid gets off, but it maintains that signal. like this. But when we are using this one with a single solenoid, in order to maintain the position of the cylinder, you have to make sure that you are still supplying your solenoid. So let's connect now indirect circuit to see what comes out. And I'm going to do it on the table there. So let's imagine a scenario saying that a pneumatic cylinder is to extend when a push button switch is pressed. And it will remain extended until another push button switch is pressed to take it to the normal position. Draw both pneumatics and electrical control circuit. So to do this, we can have it in two ways. The first way is by using a DCV having two positions with two solenoids, then we control its directory. It can work. And if we have a DCV having a single solenoid and one single solenoid with an offset spring, this time it's a must. We need an indirect control. And that's what I'm going to connect here practically to see how it works. I will need the relay and its base. I will also need switches, just push button switches, the one that are supposed to be pressed, and some wires, and a protective equipment like a circuit breaker, or you can use a fuse. And I will also need the terminal blocks. And finally, I will use my DCV having single solenoid and an offset spring. So let's get started with wiring. We wire, this is power line. So, you know, this terminal block has continuity in this way. I'm going to show you. That means that's continuity. In this way, I need to have continuity. In this way. But in this way, I'm not supposed to have a continuity, so as not to have a short circuit. So I suppose this to be my neutral, and this to be my line. Then I'm going to connect the base, and I need to show you the circuit that I'm going to use. I just need to use my relay. On a relay, there is a diagram, the way the contact looks like. So here we have like terminal 1 from 1 to 7. And here for the relay, this the first coil, this is the relay. So it's 2 and 7. 1 and 2, it's open contact. 8 and 6, it's another open contact. So let's get started. So as we said, this is my neutral. So I need to wire this. And this go to 7 as a neutral. And for the line, I have to pass through switches. So I connect the first switch, which is a normal open switch. I can use my multimeter to look for normal open contact because it has got both normal open and normal close. This is normal open switch. But when you use the other side, that's normal close. So it is even written. I will need another switch to break the circuit. So this time I'm going to use a normal closed. I have to look for a normal closed contact. You hear the beeping sound to mean it's normal close. So that when I press, it breaks. So the output from the first switch will be the input for the next switch. We can directly link them here, or we can link them using this terminal block. And I'm going to wire also the other one. This is the normal closed.
just like that. So since this is the output for this switch, so I'm going to take another contact from here. And finally, the output for this, I'm going to wire it here. And this line goes to number 2, which is our relay. So from the output of this up to the relay, to the A1 of the relay, which is number 2, so if I can show you on this circuit, this side is done. So we're going to connect also this side as a self-holding 1 and 3. So we have to look for 1, and this is 1. And 3. 3 is located here. And this is our self-holding, which will be maintaining the relay to be energized even if I release the push button. So now I connect these 2 remaining wires in parallel with the green push button switch. And to do this, you can connect 1 wire here directly to the line. And another wire, the remaining wire, will be on the other side of the switch, which is here. Then we need to connect the last wire, which is here now, from the drawing, 8 to 6, and to solenoid. So I'm going to find 8. 8 is here, so I put 8. And this 8 will be connected to here, or even to here. It will be connected to the line. And our solenoid will be connected to 6. And I look for 6. And 1 wire for the solenoid will be connected to 0. And the 0 is the first line, which is my neutral. Then we can plug now the relay to the base. And let's check. A professional technician should check before supplying. So there's no short circuit. And here it is beeping because I'm checking this switch, because it is normal closed switch. And when I check this, it will not beep unless I press here. So now it's time to connect pipes. And I'm going to bring the compressor. It's time to test whether I have power in my circuit. I'm going to plug it here. And I can use my multimeter to measure whether I have the voltage. I have to set to AC voltage. And then I need to see whether I have the values. That is, I have 215. It's almost the same. It's around 220. So I'm going to supply. Remember, this pipe comes from my supply. and it passes through the directional control valve up to the cylinder, and this side is for electrical components. And you see the connection between two circuits that is done at DCV. It means DCV has the solenoid to be controlled electrically. So let me press the push button to see what comes out. You see it goes, even if I release, it stays there. To take it back, I have to press another push button to break the circuit. We do it once again. So this is like opening the door and closing the door. And before we wind up, I need to show you like a bonus, and you will have to discover the used circuit, then we have to draw in your notes. So in order to help you to discover the circuits, I'm going to show you the components. We have two push button switches here. We have pilot lamps. We have terminal block. We have our circuit breaker as protection. We have a timer relay. We have a sensor. This is a proximity sensor. This is our directional control valve with a solenoid, and this is my double acting cylinder. So I'm going to operate, and you will have to guess the circuit, and then you will draw it somewhere. So let me start by opening the circuit. You know, it goes on. The indicator lamp shows that we have voltage here, but it is waiting for the order. So if you press the green push button, another pilot lamp goes on. At a certain period of time, it goes off. Now, if I release now my compressed air so that it can go to the system, see here, and I'm going to set a period of time. This is a timer relay. I'm going to set a period of time like 5 seconds. And now let me press again this push button. You see it goes. I push it back, it comes back. It goes. When I press it, it comes back when I press that push button. But what if I press and I keep it in that way? It comes back itself. Why? It's up to you to guess what is happening. I do it once again. I press and I just keep it. So to help you, the timer relay is the one which is breaking the circuit instead of the push button. And one thing else, I said we have a sensor here. Let me say that it's going to sense someone. And after a period of time, it will have to break, just like this. Let's imagine a scenario saying that it is going to open a door. If it is going to open a door and we need someone to be passing around, let's say that it's a door control system and we need to open the door automatically. It opens, then I pass. After a certain period of time, it closes. If I come back, it opens, I enter, then after a certain period of time, it closes. So hope you get well the lesson, and the next video will be about hydraulics and electrohydraulics. Thank you very much.